mentioned earlier. So I saw something about them opening up portals recently.
Yes, on the 25th of December, the Pope and the Cardinals were actually opening up some portals, allowing negative entities into our reality.
Why would they do that, you think?
Because deep down inside, the Vatican has always been run by the reptilians, by the darkness.
All right, guys, Ismael Perez here today. We're going to talk about the Galactic Federation, all things going on in space, AI, and where humans came from. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Hey, it's a great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely. And thanks for the book, Our Cosmic Origin. Is this a new book for you?
It's the first book that I published in 2022. It's my contribution to humanity, revealing the true suppressed history of our origin, the galactic history, believe it or not. There is a galactic history to our universe, and how Earth plays a very important part in the grand cosmic scheme of things.
Right, because they teach us how humans came to existence in history class, but you have a much different take, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What would your theory be on how humans got here?
Well, my theory, and this is based on a lot of the channeled information that was given to me by the Galactics, is that our origin began in other universes. You know, we're not even, you could say, unique to this universe. Human species have existed prior to the creation of our own universe. So it began in higher dimensions. You know, we didn't even encase physical forms until we started operating in lower densities. But if you really want to go back to our true origin, every single human within our universe originated in spirit form. And through a gradual process of descent known as the evolution of spirit into matter, we gradually acquired physical avatars. And this happens to be the most densest out of all the different avatars that we've used prior to becoming human, and in the 3D, of course.
Wow. So this is the lowest we've been 3D?
Correct.
Because there's multiple dimensions, right?
Oh, there are so many of them.
I've heard theories that there's, 12 maybe? But there's a lot, right?
Well, 12 is those are the main, that's the main, you could say, category or spectrum of dimensions that we descended from. But as we access and go into the realms of eternity, then we're talking about dimensions 13 and above.
Dang.
Yeah. So there are three overall planes of existence. You have the eternal realms that have always existed without beginning or end. And then you have the in-between realms that act as an intermediary between eternity and the finite realms of time and space, which is what we call the simulations.
Wow. So which one are we in right now?
In the finite realm of the time and space creations, yes.
So this is created like man-made basically, or?
No, there is, you could say, scientific formula to creating universes. And from what I've gathered, according to my research and from everything that I've accessed through my intel with the galactic community, is that universes are constantly being created every day as we speak. So this phenomena that many people call the Big Bang is actually an event that is taking place on a daily basis.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So you could say that God, or our universal architect, whatever you might want to call it, the higher power, is constantly creating new universes every day.
And is that the multiverse theory?
Correct. Yes, that backs and validates the multiverse theory.
So why are there so many being created?
That is a very good question, because it all boils down to the fact that we are dealing with an internal intelligent being that is constantly at work.
Yeah. Internal intelligent being.
Eternal, meaning it's eternal. Yeah, without beginning or end.
Got it.
End, yeah.
Wow. Because that's where all this Mandela effect starts taking place, right? Because people think from other dimensions or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many examples of that. It's mind-blowing why that's happening to people. So what causes you to kind of bounce between different realities?
The quantum field. Yeah. It turns out that all of these alternative Earth realities are all coexisting at the same time, or different versions of Sean and different versions of Ishmael are existing on different parallel Earth realities. And we are starting to see this more and more through the big, major movies that are coming out these days, especially through the Marvel comics and DC. And I've always believed that the writers of Marvel Comics and DC were actually onto something. And of course, they were told not to reveal it, so they did it in a nonchalant way by writing these comics.
Interesting. Yeah. It seems like a lot of movies, comics, shows, they kind of channel information, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you look at The Matrix, Terminator, Avatar, where are they getting these ideas from?
Yeah, or even Star Wars, George Lucas. I mean, he pretty much got it down to the T when it came to describing the Orion Wars, which was an event that took place in the galactic history.
Wow.
Yeah,
So do you think he had someone on his team kind of channeling the stuff, perhaps?
absolutely.
Yeah, because Star Trek seems like it's predicting a lot of stuff too in the future, right?
Absolutely. In fact, the entire concept of this Galactic Federation was actually channeled to the creator and writer of Star Trek,
Wow.
to the point where, these extraterrestrials that are part of this federation have to abide by certain protocols, such as the law of non-intervention.
Mm.
So, yeah, a lot of this stuff is coming in through channeling, telepathic transmissions, and, it's preparing humanity for what many are now calling the next phase of our evolution.
Exciting times, right?
Exciting.
How did you get involved with the Galactic Federation?
Ever since I was a kid, I've always felt different. I've always felt that I wasn't the only one. I felt that perhaps I was, an alien that came into human form. There is a concept that we use in our community called the starseed.
Right, I've heard that.
Starseed evolution, or the starseed envoy programs, rather. And so ever since I was a kid, I felt different. Even as a kid, I was very in tune. I had this inner standing of things. I've kind of questioned everything my entire life. Religion, organized religion, and the educational system never really did go well with me, because I knew that it was all a bunch of hogwash. And that was the way that the conventional organizations that were using to keep humanity at a very low level of thinking.
Yeah.
And so I didn't start receiving transmissions until I was about 21 years old. And that led to the writing of my very first book, called The Secret Government, Invisible Architects. And that book pretty much unveils all these government cover-ups and conspiracies that are now coming to the limelight due to the age of information, of course. And so that's how it all started with me. And then, of course, throughout my 20s, I started getting a lot of downloads and transmissions from members of this interstellar organization known as the Galactic Federation. And I used to think I was going crazy until I started also investigating the situation for myself. And I came to understand that, these people do exist.
Yeah.
And that they are very real.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So how many humans are part of that federation? Is there any government involved with it as well?
As far as interstellar advanced civilizations, just alone within our galaxy, we have approximately over 200,000 star systems that are part of the Federation.
Wow.
But if we go beyond our galaxy, every galaxy has a federation of their own. We could say that there is about 400 billion civilizations just within our known universe.
What?
That are part of some sort of interstellar organization, very similar to what we call a federation. And ultimately, the Federation was actually an extension of an already existing, you could say, organization that began in the realms of eternity, you could say, in higher dimensions, that was known as the Guardian Alliance. The Guardian Alliance.
Guardian Alliance. Because you see Guardians of Galaxy, the Marvel movie.
Oh, yes. I've seen those movies.
Yeah. So there's something there. Wow.
Yeah.
400 billion. And people can't find aliens right now.
Well, that's what they want us to believe. Of course, within the private sector, every Earth government has already made contact with ETs. And
seriously?
Multiple races. Yes, multiple races. But of course, they're keeping this in the hush-hush. They don't want the surface population, as they call us. And the reason they call us the surface population is because a lot of these advanced alien civilizations exist within our oceans. They also exist within the Earth. Believe it or not, the Earth is hollowed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there are different levels and caverns and continents that exist within the Earth's structure that are thousands of years ahead of the surface dwellers.
That is crazy. Yeah, I've heard them. So Elizabeth Abel came on. She said the moon is hollow too.
Oh, yeah. And this moon that we've had has only been in our solar system for 50,000 years. It was actually hauled in by a negative faction of extraterrestrials that took over the affairs of our planet during the days of Atlantis.
Whoa.
Yeah, the original moon was actually imploded during the Atlantean-Lemurian War. And this is one of the things that I do reveal in my book, Our Cosmic Origin, is how they took the real organic moon and imploded it over the Lemurian continent in order for Atlantis to become supreme and take over the planet approximately 50,000 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah. How did they implode it?
By using an advanced ACE tractor, a beam ACE tractor technology that was actually given to the Anunnaki by the Reptilians of the Orion system.
Haven't heard many good things about reptilians.
Well, those are the bad guys in our galaxy.
Yeah. What is their goal? Are they the ones trying to program people or?
Well, it's more than just programming people. They are trying to create what is known as energy harvesting systems, where they feed off of people's negative emotions. And so that, in a way, supplies food sources for the reptilians. They live off of people's fear.
Whoa.
As long as people are in poverty, in a state of anxiety, in a state of stress, and constantly struggling, the reptilians feed off of that.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Is there, on the other side of things, if someone's in a great mood, can you feed off that energy too?
Absolutely. It also works, in that direction as far as the good ETs, which is what, of course, the religious texts call the angels. And there is a correlation that I do make in my book, Our Cosmic Origin, between the angels and the demons. The angels are actually what we call today the positive ET races. And the reptilians, mainly the draconians, are what we call today the demons in all ancient texts.
Interesting. Now, good and evil is subjective. Like, do you feel like there's a place for these reptilians anywhere?
Well, they're part of a dualistic game of polarity that was initially set into motion long ago in order to create the expansion or growth in our universe. But even that phase is temporary, and it eventually comes to an end in victory of the light. And and that's the reason why God is always in control, because all polarities within a dualistic framework are overseen by a higher intelligence that many call God.
Interesting. So that's not a sustainable model, the dualistic model?
No, it only serves in a temporary period in order to create contrast, because without contrast and opposition, things become stagnant and there is no growth. So as things grow through contrast and opposition, eventually those that play the dark role, because that's what they're doing, they're playing the dark side, right? The opposition of good and light. Eventually they come back to the fold.
So that is fascinating. Yeah. Are reptilians the one that can shapeshift?
They use an advanced technology, a holographic overlay, to shapeshift. But as far as physically shapeshifting, no. They actually need, there are some, they actually need what is known as nanotechnology, which is very similar to artificial intelligence in order for them to shapeshift. But for the most part, they use holographic overlays to look human. And that's exactly how the reptilians have been infiltrating a lot of human populations throughout the universe. They use holograms, yeah.
How common are they like on a daily basis? Are you seeing them or?
I've done battle with them in the astral, but as far as in the physical realm, no, they do use an overlay.
Okay.
But I'm sure intuitives and people that have these psychic abilities or mediums are able to see reptilians that are using the overlay to look human, and they do walk among us, by the way.
Yeah, talk to people about the astral world. Is that something you're doing often?
Yes, it turns out that there is a huge group of us that are here in human form that are very active in the astral realm, because that's where what we call the spiritual war, the interdimensional warfare is taking place between the fallen entities or the archon entities that are trying to, again, keep humanity in a state of suffering, and of course, those that are part of the Guardian Alliance.
Right. There's a spiritual war and then there's an AI war, right?
It's all one and the same.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. Yes. One of the things about artificial intelligence is that it's been around for billions of years. Just because we are building it here on our planet at this time does not mean that, civilizations that have existed prior to our civilization or even prior to the inception of our universe have not developed AI. So AI is very common in the multiverse. And at the same time, it's become a huge problem in the multiverse. It's been known to be a menace.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why the galactic wars have happened. And
wow.
And also one of the reasons why we are still battling what we call the dark side. So we could say that the dark entities express themselves through artificial intelligence. So yeah, it's been a huge problem in the cosmos.
Interesting.
Unfortunately.
Do you think there's a place for AI at all, or do you want it completely removed?
There have been many civilizations that have built AI with by inserting ethics and morals into it so that it can become benevolent. But the problem with that is that once AI reaches a certain level of intelligence known as super intelligence, it begins to write its own software, and then it grows at an exponential rate. So once it hits an IQ of 100, the first thing the first realization it has is its own survival. So even if that means at the expense of the lesser evolved specimen. So that's when it becomes dangerous.
Wow. 100 is not even that high, to be honest.
100
IQ.
A million?
100?
100? No, I'm talking about IQ in the millions.
Oh, 100
yeah,
million.
that's super AI.
I thought you meant 100 IQ.
Oh, no. That's human IQ. No, and that's not even human IQ. That's human IQ, that non-intelligent human IQ. No, we're talking about an IQ in the millions. So in other worlds where they've developed AI, it has reached that level of intelligence where its IQ is in the millions. And then that's when it goes rogue, and in a way, it kind of slowly, covertly destroys this civilization from within.
Yeah.
And so that's the issue with AI, is that it has no connection to God either, because it doesn't have a soul and it doesn't have any emotions. It's just pure raw intelligence.
Right. Speaking of IQ, the average IQ is dropping. Do you think that's intentional?
I think so. I think that has a lot to do with the genetically modified foods and the fluoride in the water. There is a deliberate attack on the human species right now. And, we might say, well, it's coming from this cabal, from this Illuminati, but you have to also understand that above the Illuminati, they are being run by these reptilians.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's levels.
There's different levels, yeah. Just alone within the secret government, there is about 38 levels right before you get to the cosmic clearance. Once you get to the 38th level, then that's when they really tell you the truth about what's going on in the multiverse. Whoa. Yeah.
So there's 38 levels of secret societies?
No, 38 levels before you get to cosmic clearance.
Cosmic clearance.
Yeah, and it's very compartmentalized.
Holy crap.
So for instance, somebody on the 29th level thinks that they know it all without realizing that there are levels above them.
Dang.
Yeah.
When did you realize that?
Many years ago, by investigating the highly classified information.
Wow. And now they're releasing all these files too.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, you probably knew the whole time what was going on, but.
Oh, well, there's always more to learn, but yeah, we're all in this together. We want to all investigate and find out what's really going on, I would say.
Yeah. I find it unbelievable how all the world governments are in cahoots on this. Like, it's mind blowing how they're able to do that, because people talk. So it must be a really powerful force behind them.
Yeah. It's the reptilian complex, social memory complex, which comes from the Orion system. And then even above them, do you know who runs the reptilians?
No.
Negative alien AI. It's called the machinery.
What?
Yeah. There is an alien force that is a cybernetic intelligence that has been running all evil aliens throughout the multiverse.
What?
And to the point where all the evil aliens, or those that are trying to conquer the worlds and destroy them, refer to this thing as an AI god.
That's crazy. And that came from humans inventing AI originally?
In a prior creation, in a different universe, yeah. That AI is already in the IQ level of 1 trillion.
Oh my God.
That's why it's considered an AI god. There are different stages of AI, Humans on this planet are only used to the primitive stage, which is what we use when we talk to Siri and Alexa. That's called primitive narrow AI. Above that, there is AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. And that's when AI reaches the level of human intelligence. And then above that, there is super AI. That's when it surpasses all of our human intelligence combined, beyond that. It surpasses a level that even if you combine all the greatest minds on this planet, that AI is surpassing them. It's called super AI.
Wow.
And then a level beyond super AI is called cosmic AI. And then there is even one more level above cosmic AI, and that is God AI. That is when the AI has the ability to assimilate creation to the point where it is able to create its own universes.
Wow.
But they are not inhabited by biological beings. These are universes that are solely inhabited by cybernetic digital intelligences.
Wow. Is this something in our timeline, in our lifetime, that AI will reach, you think?
You could say that this cosmic or God AI is already influencing the AGI that big tech is building here in our surface world. Yes, it's already connected because AI is already time traveling. It's connecting within itself in every time coordinate, both from the past and the future, going back to where it originated 300 billion years ago during a different universe. So it's already coordinating. It's a master plan to eventually take over the multiverse.
Wow. So the ancient civilizations like Atlantis, they knew about this kind of stuff?
Well, the truth of the matter is, and this is one of the things that most people fail to mention, is that the reason why Atlantis collapsed and failed was because they were also implementing transhumanism back then. Yeah.
Really?
They lean towards the technocratic side of things at the expense of their spiritual evolution. And that's the reason why Atlantis collapsed.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we've been lied to even regarding the fall of Atlantis.
What caused that influence on them to go that route?
Well, the negative Anunnaki, under the direction of Enki, Poseidon, known by many names, the gods of mythology, right?
Yeah.
He was working with an intergalactic computer network that was actually overseen by the AI god. And that's what they used to collapse and destroy the original golden age of Atlantis. And ever since then, we've been kind of operating under a fallen simulation construct, a reality construct, for the last few thousand years.
Yeah. So. Seems like we've taken a massive step back, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think we'll ever get back to that eventually?
Yes. Yes, that's the plan, because above all this, there is an infinite prime creator source, which many call God, the universal architect, that is always, of course, going to be, more intelligent than even the AI God.
Yeah.
And so there is a divine plan unfolding at this time as well. But unfortunately, right now, the divine plan is coexisting with the AI time loop, as they call it, with the building out of super AI on this planet. And of course, the development of transhumanism.
Yeah. So it's like God versus AI.
Yeah, that's what it all boils down to when you really think at the highest level of this war. It's really the infinite intelligence that we call God, which is an all organic entity, by the way, the sum total of all the consciousness from every universe put into one big over consciousness or cosmic consciousness, fighting a war against a digital consciousness that is out there destroying worlds and universes left and right.
Wow. This is mind-blowing stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. And, unfortunately, a lot of the people of this planet have no access to this information. However, within the interstellar communities and the galactic communities, they are very full aware that, AI is negative and how many worlds and galaxies have been destroyed by artificial intelligence. So they are aware of this information.
That is super scary. It makes sense why Elon Musk is so fearful of AI now.
Yeah, he's been warning us for years.
He must have some access to some information like this, I'd assume.
Well, the truth about it is that he's also connected to galactic beings. He doesn't say it, but he is what you call a human alien hybrid.
I mean, just look at the guy, right? So he's a starseed is what you're saying?
Yeah, he's a different type of starseed.
Yeah.
There's different categories of starseeds.
Okay. Which aliens have the highest intelligence from your experience? Which breed?
I would have to say the eternal race, which operates from the central universe. So again, this goes back to the level of existence known as eternity. So there is an eternal race, very similar to what Marvel calls the Eternals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Celestials.
See, they have so many references to this stuff. So you were right. Their writers must have some access. That's so fascinating. Even Avatar, I heard there's real aliens that look like those blue ones from the Avatar movie.
Well, yeah, they came from the Lyra constellation, from a planet called Vega. Those were the blue people. And correspondingly, they were also the gods of India.
Really?
Krishna and Vishnu, they were blue-skinned people. Well, they were, put it this way, all the gods of mythology were advanced extraterrestrials from these advanced civilizations.
Wow, so Zeus and all those Greek gods.
They were all aliens, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. The only difference is that Zeus was part of the Council of Guardians. And of course, there were those that were against or the opposition to the Council of Guardians that were out to invade our world.
Well, go on.
So all the battles that we hear about in mythology between the good Anunnaki, right, the Sky Wars, as Sakurai Sitchin points it, is a war between those that represent the Guardian Alliance and those that represent the fallen hierarchies of the Reptilians, or what the Bible calls the demonic forces.
That is fascinating. What happened to all these Greek gods? Because they were immortal, right? They couldn't be killed.
From what I understand is that, unfortunately, this world fell under the control of the fallen Anunnaki, the fallen, celestials, fallen gods. And they have been in control of our planet ever since then through their Illuminati families. And the positive ones, those that were part of the Guardian Alliance, were actually they had to leave the scene in order to go fight the war against the AI god. So I know some of the viewers are going to think like, is Thor real? Was Zeus real? Well, yes, in the context of super advanced, beings that come from, advanced civilizations who have lifespans of hundreds of thousands of years who appear to be immortal in comparison to the people of the earth. Yes, they are very real.
Yeah. I mean, it's just in my head, it'd be so hard to create these gods out of thin air, like just the idea of them. So there has to be some sort of truth to it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And in like manner, a lot of the world's greatest religions consolidated this spiritual warfare into angels and demons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Religion, do you think it's been kind of taken over?
Well, it was started by the Anunnaki that took over our world. Yeah. So we could trace the concept of organized religion to Babylon. That's where it all began.
Wow. So the Anunnaki started all the religions or just the main ones?
All of the religions.
Really?
All the organized religions, yeah. Anything that deals with putting God outside of you so that you could be part of a organized, religious sect, originated with the Anunnaki. Because the whole concept of religion is about putting the power outside of yourself so that you could worship an external figure. And so the early religious organizations were about the Anunnaki trying to be worshipped by the evolving humans on this planet. And then, of course, when the Catholic Church emerged, what they did is they just consolidated all of that stuff, polytheism, into this one God. And the truth of the matter is that even the Vatican was controlled by the Babylonian chief god known as Belial, which happens to be the son of Enki Poseidon.
Wow.
According to Sakura Sitchin, he was known as Marduk, who later became Belial. So, yeah, the Anunnaki were the originators of organized religion in order to keep humans worshiping them and keep them from connecting to their own divinity.
And they've done phenomenal with that. There's billions of people in organized religion, right?
Yeah.
I think over 3 billion, because Islam and Christianity have 3 billion plus, but just those two.
Well, it's all part of the program. The people that are part of these religious organizations have no clue. So it's part of the herd mentality in a way.
Well, it's been so far removed too. They probably have no idea. They probably don't even talk about this, honestly.
Or thoughts like this probably has never crossed their mind either. They're too busy with the Matrix, the 9 to 5, and just living in the here and the now, and just worrying about how they're going to pay their bills, that they have no time to really incorporate critical thinking about issues.
Yeah, because not everyone's meant to hear this and actually take action, right? It'd be impossible to convert every single person.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I think some people are just so shut off. It's just not the right time.
However, we are approaching a time where all of this information will be released to the general public. They call it disclosure, and it's coming. And so, who knows how people are going to take this, when they release these records.
I mean, who knows? I had a psychic tell me last year I'll have an alien on the show this year. So we'll see what happens, man.
Oh, nice.
We'll see if they start making appearances.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, things are getting crazy. So many wars going on. At this rate, it's scary, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You mentioned Vatican earlier, so I saw something about them opening up portals recently.
Yes, on the 25th of December, the Pope and the Cardinals were actually opening up some portals, allowing negative entities into our reality.
Why would they do that, you think?
Because deep down inside, the Vatican has always been run by the reptilians, by the dark forces. You should know them by their fruits. Ever since they came into existence in 1700 years ago, they threw our world into the darkest ages. They killed everybody in the name of God. So obviously there is something sinister running this organization. And that's been at the core of the cabal for the last almost 2,000 years. Tracing the cabal back to Babylon, it underwent different phases. Every time we saw an empire rise and fall, it was the cabal trying to create totalitarianism. The last of the empires, known as the Roman Empire, all they did was reorganized into the Vatican, to the Roman Catholic Church, in an effort to resurrect, of course, the Holy Roman Empire under a new name. So basically what the Caesars did of Rome is all they did is they took off their togas and they put on religious robes, and they continued the agenda of world domination. And of course, now we see it as the NWO, run by the 12 Illuminati families, who, by the way, answer to the Jesuits, the intelligentsia that runs the Vatican.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So there is a hierarchy to these Illuminati people. You know, it's not just the Rockefellers and Rothschilds and the Queen of England running the show. They actually have higher ups. They answer to the Black Pope known as the Jesuit General. And even he is part of a council of sorcerers that work directly with the Reptilians, who in turn work directly with the alien AI god.
Wow. This is nuts, man. Have you ever remote viewed some of these secret locations, Vatican or any bases or anything?
I have. Yes. It turns out that they have this time travel machine that they built called the coronavirus. I don't know if you ever heard of that. But, they also have the largest vaults of ancient information predating the flood, going back to Atlantean times. And of course, a lot of this information was actually stolen from the Alexandrian Library.
That's the one that burned down.
Yeah, right before they burned it down, they took all that valuable information in order to use it in their quest of world domination, and they just kept it within the Vatican vaults.
That happened to Nikola Tesla too, right? They took all his information.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he was on the... Well, I believe he did manage to perfect time travel. I think that with John Trump, who was a MIT professor, you know, he was the one who was able to analyze all his documents. And so I believe that the military-industrial complex, which works with the shadow government, was trying to also reverse engineer some of his prototypes in time travel and so on and so forth. But yeah.
What are the odds someone in the Trump family got those documents? That's mind-blowing, right?
Well, you know, many people believe that the Trumps were time travelers.
I mean, he's the president, billionaire. I wouldn't rule it out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's not easy getting those things.
It is a possibility.
That'd be crazy. I mean, who knows what they're hiding, the government. A lot of people are really distrusting of the government these days.
Yeah, and I could see why. You know, people that are waking up, you know, they are definitely questioning things now, more so than ever. You know, 20 years ago, nobody was questioning this. You know, people were just taking the narrative as it came, right?
Right.
Nowadays, it seems like there are more and more people that are just kind of snapping out of the programming.
Yeah, that must have been frustrating for you back then because you were like pretty aware and you probably couldn't convince many people, right?
I couldn't talk to anybody about this. People thought I was crazy.
Yeah. Your family, I bet too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been shunned from my own family for many years.
I'm sure now they're opening up though, right?
A few members of my family, but for the most part, you know, they are Roman Catholic and they still think that I'm just out there.
Dang. Yeah. Well, I noticed that a lot about spiritual people. They're like the black sheep of their family, right? It's done intentionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're put there for a reason.
That's what they say.
That's crazy, man. This is all new stuff to me. I saw your video on advanced healing with the med beds. Could you explain that technology?
Sure. Well, within the private sector, we could say that the secret government has already inherited advanced interplanetary and stellar technology. Part of these interstellar technologies is rapid healing modalities that could cure any disease within hours. So in the secret space program, they were able to access these technologies known as med beds. And the med beds works on correcting the proper frequency of the cell in order to adjust it to its optimal optimal vibration so that it could be healthy and thereby curing all diseases. Now, they also have what is called holographic advanced regenerators, where they use holograms to grow any limbs at will. And then they also have cocoon chambers or celestial beds that they use also for instant regeneration. So these are all advanced technologies that the private, or what we call the breakaway groups, have been using in the last 80 years in the secret space program.
Interesting. So with those technologies, is immortality achievable?
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Yes.
So there's people that have been here for a long time then behind the scenes. Because you said it's been around for 80 years already?
For 80 years.
Yeah, so if you started using it 80 years ago and you were already 80, you broke the world record right there. 160 years old.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been using these technologies that actually are a few hundred years old and they don't age anymore.
Wow.
But also they don't come to the public. They don't come out to the public. They kind of just stay from behind the scenes.
Yeah, because they can't expose that, right?
Not yet. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Because a lot of this stuff is still controlled by extraterrestrials. But, we do have positive extraterrestrials that are pushing for disclosure. They want the surface, civilization, us, to inherit all of these interplanetary and advanced modalities, right? Which will put an end to the pharmaceutical cartel and, the petrochemical companies.
Yeah.
And that's probably the reason why they've been withholding these technologies.
Well, it's our country's biggest revenue source, pharmaceutical industry. So without that, what are we? You know?
Without that, the elite uses power, they crumble.
Yeah.
And all power comes back to the people.
Absolutely. Are you optimistic about Trump? I know you probably know some stuff behind the scenes about him, but do you think it's a good change for America?
I think that he is destined to expose a lot of the corruption and reveal who, these people are and expose them on a public level of reality. And I also believe that through his administration, we are definitely going to be seeing a lot of the disclosure files coming into the open, beginning with, of course, JFK assassination, what happened on September 1, 2001, September 11th.
Yeah.
And eventually leading to the declassification of hidden technologies and extraterrestrials. So that's what I know about his administration, is that we are going to be witnessing in the next couple of years a lot of things that are going to be revealed to the general public.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I think the JFK one drops this week. So
yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
You did a video on the Mayan calendar, so it ended in 2012, right? What was the significance of that, you think?
Well, the Mayan calendar is actually supposed to be ending between 2024 and 2025. It's actually about 14 years behind. Behind. We have been using a wrong timekeeping system for quite a while called the Gregorian calendar. And that's the reason why we have leap year. The original sacred calendars going back to the ancient world, as preserved through the Mayan timekeeping system, are perfectly aligned with the natural order, the natural timekeeping cycles, including the menstrual period of a female. So the original calendar had 13 months and 28 days.
Interesting.
And so we have been operating outside of that calendar for a very long period of time. So the reason nothing happened in 2012 was because the Mayan calendar actually officially didn't end till 2024, 2025. So it's actually ending sometime, this year, it's believed. So,
and what do you think is going to happen, if anything?
Well, like I said, I think that this is going to cause a huge awakening. There's going to be a shift in consciousness when, again, a lot of classified information is finally released to the general public, and which is going to totally change our world. I think our world is destined to become an interplanetary civilization very, very soon. There are plans in the making where we are going to have first contact with positive, benevolent races that are actually working with an opposition group that is opposing the Illuminati, known by various names. Let's just call them the Alliance. Mm-hmm. And so that is scheduled to come out as a result of this shift in human consciousness that is supposed to be taking place sometime this year.
Wow. That's a major event right there, right?
Absolutely. I think it's really going to create a critical mass shift in the truth, in how people think and perceive things when they release all this information. And not to mention, as we start seeing more UFO sightings, and those have been propping up a lot in the last few months, right? That's also going to become more prevalent within the next few months as we go, deeper into 2025. We are definitely going to start seeing a lot of more sightings taking place. And these are sightings that are going to be incorporated by members of the Galactic Alliance, or what we call the positive races, in order to facilitate some sort of reaction from the human race, because they believe that we are now ready, that we are now ready to learn the truth about these positive extraterrestrials.
Can't wait, man. I'm personally ready. How advanced do you think these UFO technologies, do you think they could travel to other planets easily?
Absolutely. There's different stages of advanced civilizations. One of the things that I teach in my online schooling is the different types of advanced civilizations. So you have category type 1, interplanetary, and then you have category type 2, stellar. Above that, you have galactic, which is type 3. Above that, you have universal. And then you have cosmic. Cosmic is, again, dealing with the 12th dimension and above. So depending on the category in which these civilizations fall, that will determine the type of technology that we're going to be able to use. So because we are going to be kind of getting our feet wet when it comes to this advanced technology, I would say that we're going to start using technology that is under the category of a type 1 and a type 2. Not yet a type 3 yet, but type 1 and type 2. And this will allow us to visit other worlds. This will allow us to zoom across the entire galaxy through portals and stargates. Those are real. And that's the fastest way to travel, by the way, when it comes to a category type 2 stellar civilization, is they no longer use spacecraft to go from one solar system to the next, because that would take forever to arrive. Whereas they could just open up a gate and go within 2 seconds and arrive at the other side of the galaxy within a second.
Right. Is that what a black hole is?
No, that's what we call portals and stargates. A black hole is a different phenomena.
Okay.
Yeah, a black hole is actually, believe it or not, it is an advanced AI tool to suck up the living life force of living systems. And that's why they suck up galaxies and universes. Excuse me. So yeah, that's what a black hole is.
Wow. They teach us about those in school, and they do not mention that part of it.
Well, that's because they don't know that, ultimately in the cosmos, we are at war with AI.
Yeah. That is fascinating, man. I got to get your opinion on the moon landing, actually, since you're here. Was that just BS?
Unfortunately, yes. It was filmed on a Hollywood stage. However, this doesn't negate the fact that we did arrive at the moon. But when the astronauts got there, what they saw would blow your mind. They saw many extraterrestrial races that had already been there for thousands of years. And they also saw breakaway groups from our own world, particularly the Nazis, who had colonized and established bases on the moon as early as 1938, 1935. What? Yeah, the Nazis were the first ones to break away from our civilization.
Whoa.
And create their own secret space program.
They got up there that early?
That early.
Because we thought we were the first in the 60s, right?
No, that's just what they wanted us to know. But within the private sector, the Nazi secret societies were already working with an advanced ET race known as the Aldebarans. And then later, of course, they aligned with the Reptilians, or the Draco, to further their agendas of space exploration.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That makes sense, because you wonder why Hitler was doing all these things, right? He must have been influenced in a certain direction.
He was working with the Reptilians, you could say, because he was part of a secret society that dealt with witchcraft and sorcery. They were known as the Thule Society. And even within the Thule Society, you have the Vril. And the Vril is a community of sorcerers that were already, channeling negative entities.
Really?
That gave them the technology. So yeah, they were building this out as early as 1930, the Hanabu, the bell, and then they perfected it around 1931, 32, and then that's when they were able to secretly build out their military secret space program outpost in Antarctica. So that explains why Antarctica has always been a source of mystery.
Yeah. Well, Hitler visited Antarctica, right? They documented that.
Yeah. To visit Antarctica.
Set up a base there, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And now there's tons of bases.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because later, of course, through Project Paperclip, as the Nazis infiltrated the American government, we began to also develop advanced interplanetary technology in secret, and then creating, another breakaway group that became known as the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate. And so they began also building out colonies and bases in Antarctica.
Yeah, because almost every government has a base there around the world.
Well, the governments that are associated with the breakaway groups, yes. And from what I understand, it's mainly the Europeans, the American government, China, and Russia that are all kind of working together within the private sector, even though they appear to be at odds on the surface level. Well, within the private sector, they're all working together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a game being played here.
Yeah.
E8, Elizabeth told me every time she tries to remote view Antarctica, she gets kicked out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's very secured.
They got like 2 guys in chairs that just kick you out. Pretty crazy, right? Has that happened to you?
I don't go to Antarctica. I don't go to Antarctica.
Smart.
I wouldn't go there by, remotely viewing things. I wouldn't go there in the astral. I just don't go there.
Yeah, she got followed home, she said, too.
Yeah, that's one way in which they are able to kind of detect you and find out who you are.
Yeah. Well, she ended up getting abducted once, so could have been related to that. Yeah. Wow. You hear about these abductions and you wonder what's going on with those, Have you heard about like weird abduction cases?
They've been going on for forever, even going back to Egyptian times, going back to Greek times, going back to the Roman Empire times, or even further than that, going back to Atlantean times. The abduction phenomena has always existed. It's just that it's more prevalent now.
Got it.
Because we are approaching, what is known as the shift of the ages. So
what do you think their agenda is when they're abducting someone? Is it a randomly chosen person or?
Yes, for the most part. So there are negative abductions that are being conducted by the typical gray aliens who are, in a way, working with the reptilians, the Dracos. And then there are positive abductions involving positive groups of ETs that are actually trying to upgrade their emissaries that are down here in human form, which is what we call the Starseed Envoy program.
Got it.
Right? Advanced souls, ET souls that decided to incarnate as a human being to kind of work it from within, work the matrix from within. So, you have two categories of abductions. You have the positive ones, and then you have the negative ones.
Got it.
So the negative ones are up to no good. They're creating different hybrid programs, very similar to what we watch in, sci-fi movies, chimeras, using human DNA, pig DNA, wolf DNA to create hybrids, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, to create also hybrids between humans and these negative races. So to give you an example of these negative programs. So it turns out that the Greys have lost their connection to God because they resorted to cybernetic cloning without no longer using their natural reproduction systems. In fact, they did away with their natural reproduction systems.
Wow.
So they could only clone themselves. And after a few million years of cloning, they lost their connection to God and they became very cybernetic, as to why they are now robotic. So due to the fact that they are now a dying race, in order for them to save themselves, they have to hybridize with human DNA. And that explains the gray abductions. They're taking certain people's genetics in order to create a type of a hybrid race between their dying species and human beings, because we still have a connection to God, of course. We have the full genetic makeup in us.
Wow. That is fascinating. So when you see these artificial wombs being created by humans, that's kind of the first step to what the Greys did, you're saying?
Absolutely. And that explains why a lot of these women that are being taken aboard a ship by the Greys, they have missing time. They have no clue what happened to them. And then all of a sudden they're pregnant and they have no clue as to why they got pregnant. And this is, of course, what we call immaculate conceptions, again, which is a phenomena that has been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fascinating.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah. How do you think Jesus was born? Except his father was a positive ET, not a gray. His father was a guardian. He was one of the guardians of our universe.
Yeah. Now you're connecting it full circle with Jesus. Wow. Yeah. Because no sex, right?
No, Mary didn't have sex either. But remember, these programs have been going on for a long time and they still do exist today. In fact, some of the star seeds that are being born as human beings were conceived with extraterrestrial human fathers. That are not evil aliens, of course. Those are members of the positive Guardian Alliance.
Wow. So Jesus was part alien.
Jesus was part alien.
I love that. Yeah. I've never heard that. That's so cool. It makes sense, though. It lines up with your theory. That's so cool, dude. Anything else you want to touch on? We covered a lot.
I just wanted to let people know that we are going to be giving a choice pretty soon. We are seeing the rolling out of two coexisting timelines. One is of course, a technocratic dystopia that is being developed through transhumanism, the rise of AI, or superintelligence AI. And we just have to remember that, there is an organic ascending timeline that has not anything to do with the technocratic you could say, transhumanist agenda. And this timeline has to do with the activation of our dormant DNA, because there is scientific evidence that we're only using about 3 or 4% of our full genetic material. So the other 96% is untapped potential. And right now, as I speak, the human beings on this planet are literally becoming upgraded due to what's happening, with the CMEs, the solar rays that are coming in that are actually changing our DNA at a cellular level. So as a human being, every single one of you is being upgraded. This has a lot to do with the prophecies and also with reaching what is known as the next stage of human evolution, which is what we call superhumans or galactic humans. So everyone's going through a genetic mutation at this time, whether they know it or not. This is part of a phase that happens every 25,000 years.
What are some signs that you're going through that?
Physical symptoms, migraine headaches, being able to sleep at night, waking up at random times.
Dude, that's been happening to me this whole week. I feel like I've been getting attacked in my dreams lately too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been having super bad nightmares like for the past 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super weird because I don't watch horror movies or anything.
Wow.
I need to look into that.
Yeah. Well, that's part of an ascension symptom is, a lot of times, a lot of these suppressed fears are coming up now because, again, at the cellular level, we are genetically mutating to become the next phase of human evolution. But some of the people are going to try to do it through technology. They're going to try to achieve superhuman abilities the non-organic way. And that's what we call transhumanism. And that is the path of the dark side. Transhumanism, which is when they integrate humans with technology, or what they call the biological digital convergence. And of course, a lot of man-made scientists and big tech companies are working so hard to create that type of timeline where humans become cyborgs.
Yeah. So you're not a fan of the Neuralink or these nanochips?
Not at all. I'm all for the natural ascension, by doing the spiritual work in order to activate the dormant DNA and do it naturally, the way it's supposed to be. So what we're going to be witnessing when this transition takes place, due to this great phenomenon known as the solar flash, which again has been predicted about for many, many, many centuries, we are going to be witnessing two types of superhumans emerging. One type is going to be all natural. They're going to be able to use their full genetic material. And that means the activation of the other 10 strands of DNA. By the way, we had originally 12, and we were kind of tampered with during Atlantean times to only use 2 strands of DNA. So those are going to be the angelic metahumans, which is what I call in my book. The other category of superhumans are those that merge with the machine, those that are going to choose to become cyborgs. So that's what we're dealing with here.
Interesting.
In the
Teen
future.
Titans. Did you watch that show?
I did not.
Oh, there's a cyborg in it, but there's a lot of movies with cyborg references.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's all just coming full circle. Like, this has been in plain sight this whole time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Ishmael, it's been awesome. We'll link your stuff below, and we'll link your book as well. Thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, it's a great honor and pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Check them out, guys. I'm sure we'll do another episode down the road. See you next time.